We've seen a lot of articles like this one come out over the weekend saying that apparently China-made EV sales are falling for Tesla. Now we know that in China, Tesla does have a pretty decent competitor, BYD, but these headlines are a little out of context and quite honestly misleading if you don't dig into them further. So of course, that's what we're going to do today. The China Passenger Car Association says that Tesla's China-made EV sales have fallen by 10.9% year over year in September. So this means between September 2022 and September just gone in 23, there was a 10.9% decrease in sales of the Teslas made in China. These articles went on to say that Model Y and Model 3 vehicles were also down by 12% from the previous month in August. And whilst all these apparent drops were happening for Tesla, BYD were experiencing an increase of 43% on their deliveries. Talking about deliveries, we knew that Q3 was not going to be the strongest quarter that Tesla have ever had. They told us ahead of time. This was due to planned factory upgrades. It's delayed gratification. Tesla knew that they needed to take a short-term knock on their numbers in order to improve their factories for the long term. And this is ultimately only going to help them and us as investors. And they needed to get the factory line ready for producing the new Model 3 refreshed vehicle. Let's first look at the China-made EV sales over the last 3 years. This will help us to zoom out and give us some context for those numbers, and it will also allow us to see the general trend over time. So these articles are reporting a decrease in just a single month. They are looking at September 23 and comparing it to September in the previous year. It is way more accurate to actually compare quarters to quarters between different years. So yes, maybe if you're isolating just September for China-made EV sales, you will see that Tesla hasn't had the best month. However, they've had to really dig deep into finding this because you can see that most of the time, the most recent year has been the best one yet. When you're looking at a single month, I mean. And also, look at Q2. So April, May and June. You can see absolutely record number of sales. Look at those huge red bars and compare that to Q2 in 2022 and 2021. And the general trend year over year is upwards. It's going in the right direction. Feel free to pause this video and you can look at this chart in a little bit more detail and compare quarter to quarter between the different years. Also on October the 1st, Tesla put out the new refreshed Model Y vehicle. So these numbers, these sales will show in Q4. They wouldn't have shown in Q3. So we should expect, and with the factory upgrades, that Q4 is really, really strong. And like we've said before, Tesla are still reiterating that they are on track and want to make 1.8 million deliveries across 2023. So they are expecting Q4 to be very, very strong. But even with all this information, let me tell you exactly why these headlines are so misleading. It's because these sort of things are often not a direct comparison. Tesla, as you know, produces 100% all electric vehicles. BYD, however, produces the battery electric vehicles like Tesla, but they also produce hybrids. So if you compare BYD to Tesla and you take into account all of BYD's vehicles, so their electric vehicles, but also their hybrid vehicles, then yes, you will see that BYD sell more than Tesla globally. But if you remove all of BYD's non-fully electric vehicles and you do a direct comparison between just fully electric vehicles that Tesla makes, which is all of them obviously, and BYD's fully electric lineup, then Tesla come out on top. Now, I'm not saying that BYD isn't doing amazing. They are doing great with their battery electric vehicle sales. And we did see them close in on Tesla in Q3. Granted, Tesla did have those factory upgrades, which meant that their deliveries were slightly lower than normal. But I just wanted to show you how these headlines and the articles are a little out of context, especially if you're someone that doesn't know about the Tesla factory upgrades, if you don't know that BYD produces hybrid vehicles as well, and you don't know that it's more accurate to compare quarter on quarter rather than looking at one single month in isolation. If you don't know these things, you may see these headlines and believe that Tesla is performing really, really badly, when actually that's not the case. It's more noise. It makes the stock more volatile, and it's kind of what we expect and we're used to as Tesla investors. So Tesla sells 2 vehicles in China. They sell the Model Y and the Model 3. BYD sells a lot of vehicles. They have way more than just 2 options. As of right now, most of BYD's vehicle sales are coming from vehicles that are firstly not fully electric, like we just said, and secondly, they are coming from vehicles that are a much lower price point than Tesla's Model Y and Model 3 vehicles are. So once Tesla comes out with that really affordable, maybe sub $25,000 vehicle car, things are going to get very interesting, because at this point Tesla are really going to start being able to compete with China's existing budget-friendly offerings. It's also worth pointing out that Tesla lead on profit margins even after all of their recent price cuts. So by them focusing on volume of sales and trying to sell as many cars as they possibly can could end very well for them. And also it ties in with their general overall mission and moving towards a potential robo-taxi fleet in the near distant future. Now, of course, there will always be more than one EV company getting market share. There will never be one single company grabbing the whole market here. This is expected. People like option. And BYD is a fierce competitor. But I just wanted to point out how misleading some of these articles really are. They're not a direct comparison by any means, so definitely always dig into them further. If you liked this video, consider coming over to the Patreon, where you'll get access to the Discord and you can chat to me and other like-minded investors every single day. I hope to see some of you guys there soon. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll be back with another very shortly.